So lots of times people ask me, how did you get to start believing the way you believe now about Genesis 1? As I've said, I was raised with a young earth position and certainly went through an anti-evolutionary kind of position because in the 70s, if you believed in evolution, you didn't believe in creation. And so I went through those phases, and as I came into my teaching career, that was sort of still my default position. In my doctoral work, I'd specialized in Genesis as well as in the ancient Near East, and so I was becoming more and more acquainted with that ancient world. And that helped me gain some perspectives on the book of Genesis, but it still wasn't really changing anything about the way that I believed. As I started my teaching career, I often described myself to my classes as an uncomfortable young earth person. I was young earth because as I read Genesis 1, the word day, yom in Hebrew, I didn't know any other way to treat that except as a 24-hour day. And so to that extent, I was very committed to a serious interpretation of the biblical text as I remain today. I was uncomfortable in it because I felt that to try to make the science work with that created some complicated and difficult situations that I struggled with. But my commitment was to the biblical text, and so there I was, an uncomfortable young earth person. It was in the late 90s when a moment came and suddenly things took a different direction. I was teaching a course, an upper level course on Genesis, Hebrew text, dealing with a small number of students. We were going through Genesis 1. And we were talking about day one, and I asked the question to the class, why didn't God call the light light? And trying to work through that and thinking about, well, the light refers to a period of time, so he called it day. And if it refers to a period of time, then we have the alternating periods of day and night. And that means that on day one, God created time. And it was really the first time that I'd said it that way. But of course, it made very good sense with the text. And then the next line I said sort of changed everything. I said, so what we find on day one is that God's not creating an object. He was creating time, a way that our world worked. And I just stopped in the middle of the line and thought, oh my, that's the key. That's what I've been missing. He was creating order and function in this world. That's what makes this passage different from what we might have thought that it was. Well, we spent the rest of the class period just talking through all of that, talking about what its implications were. And over the next year or so, I continued my research in developing that position. In my mind, this was how we could go about taking the text seriously as an ancient document. I didn't come to that position because of what I found in ancient Near Eastern creation accounts, but once I hit on that, I saw that in the ancient Near East creation accounts, it was the same thing. It was a focus on order. And so that was really the beginning of thinking about Genesis 1 in a very different way. A way that suggests that it was not dealing with the material origins, but that it was dealing with the origins of order and function in the world. And that's been the path I've been following since then.